Hey everyone, I hope you're having a really good, relaxed evening. It was actually a snow day here today, so everything's a little bit at a standstill for a lot of people. But for me, it was just my day off. It's usually my days off. Um, anyway, so this is a topic that I've been meaning to talk about for a while now, but I thought it was important to address because anyway, the topic is the connection between veganism and spirituality. And the reason I thought it was important to discuss is I was actually looking through a newspaper, a daily newspaper, the other day at work, and there was a girl who was an energy healer in the paper where she was just wearing lots of fur. I know everyone's going to be like, well, how do you know if it's real fur? Anyways, regardless of that, I still want to make this video, and this topic is important to me, and why I think it's important, why being vegan or plant-based, not eating or using animals for our own pleasure, is truly important to be at a high vibration and high frequency, and what that actually means. There are so many people who will argue against this and say things like, we shouldn't tell people what to eat. You're right. I'm not going to tell you what to eat. I'm not going to tell you stop eating that. I'm not going to tell you that what you should do. Everyone is on their own journey here, and I understand that. But I'm going to explain to you why I think it's important that as humans, we do not consume pain and suffering of animals. Because if you do consume meat and dairy, that is what you're actually consuming. So, like I said, there's a lot of people who argue the fact, saying that that is their karma, that is the animal's karma, and that we should just be able to do what we want. But when we say things like that, you're actually coming from a place of ego, because we should not care about someone else's suffering, another being's suffering, for our own immediate pleasures of our palate. So delicious. That's essentially is what you're saying. So whether something is someone else's karma or not is not even the question here. Whether that is true or not is still not the question. What's important here is, what are you participating in? Are you going to participate in that person's karma, that being's karma? If it's someone's karma to be in an abusive relationship and to choose all these horrible things for themselves, that might be their karma, that might be their suffering, that might be their road. But are you going to participate in that situation? Are you going to watch someone beat someone else up in front of you? Are you going to watch that? Are you going to visually watch it? Are you going to participate? Are you going to pay that person to hit that person? And that's why I don't like when people give me that answer, because that's what we're saying, because you are participating. You are a participant. You're a participant because you're paying for that. That your dollar is going towards the suffering. So what are the reasons that you should go vegan? Well, for a multitude of reasons. When you consume animal flesh, you're consuming that frequency of pain and suffering and fear, which is all that they experience at the end. There's so many videos. I was going to talk about this because I was afraid I was going to get really emotional, but there's so many videos that show, just so you know, majority of animals killed for slaughter for food are babies. They're still babies. They're little. They're not full-grown, adult-sized animals. They never are. And so when they bring them to slaughter, and there's several videos showing these baby calves or animals like trying to like nuzzle against the person who has a bolt gun in their hand and who's going to kill them. And the animals, they see the other animals being killed. They're watching them being, like, their throats being slit. They watch them trying to, like, fight for their lives. they're watching this. They know as soon as they're driving in there. Plus, coming home yesterday from work, it was like there's a snowstorm. There's like a blizzard, and it was like minus like 20 or 18 or something outside. And there's these like metal trucks of all these animals coming in because my work is not too far from a slaughterhouse. And you see them and you know that they traveled for like hundreds of miles to get here in this freezing metal transport truck. And you know that some of the animals die during transport. They're frozen to the trucks. And I saw this one baby calf with his little nose out when the snowflakes were coming down, and he's just like wondering where the hell he's going. And I know that his next turn is going to be into the slaughterhouse. And it was like so devastating for me to see this. And this is the cost of humanity's greed and ego. And I don't understand what I have to do to make people understand this. Working where I work, I see the amount of meat that gets thrown out every day. What actually gets consumed is not even that much. So the reason that so many animals are being murdered and killed is because of the demand. It's because that's what people want. So it's a capitalist society, and people view animals as a commodity. They don't see them as beings, as live beings. And I understand that there's a disconnect. I was a meat eater for most of my life. But, with so many people who are vegan now and so much talks about compassion and most importantly, just the effect that we have as humans on everything around us, these beings and the planet, there's no excuse as to why we can't shift our gaze and towards that. So for compassionate reasons, that's one reason why we should not eat animals. For health reasons, that's another huge reason why we shouldn't eat animals. Most diseases can be reversed with a whole foods plant-based diet. If you're not familiar with Dr. Greger, I definitely recommend you check him out. And obviously everyone knows about his How Not to Die documentary and book. So check it out. For health reasons, obviously eating a plant-based diet is extremely healthy. I'm sure that there's a crap ton of people who will try to argue that, like, oh, I need my protein from my meat and all this stuff. All right, you go and do that and enjoy that. But, I'm thriving more than ever on my vegan diet, and I've been vegan for a while. Vegetarian I went vegetarian like 10 and a half years ago. And then I was like transitioning to vegan like over 3 years ago. And then finally went about a year and a half ago, completely vegan. My cats are causing ruckus behind me as per usual. So anyways, also with the compassionate reason and the health reason aside, let's talk about the environmental reasons and the environmental impact that factory farming has, and fishing. There's people who it makes me laugh when people want to like focus on like on like don't use plastic straws or don't do this and we got to reduce that. But plastic straws, I think, if you put them together, only contribute to like 1%. I think the number it's a very low percentage of the plastic in the ocean. I'm not saying don't use plastic straws. Like, I do agree not to use it. But that point is moot if you are still eating fish, because the majority of the plastic waste in the oceans are fishing lines, which is about 46%. 46% of the plastic in our oceans are fishing lines and fishing gear that are left in the oceans and discarded and cause all kinds of problems. For our ocean life. So yes, and factory farming, people talk about like how these crops, if you're plant-based, they need crops and everything. unfortunately, that also is not a good argument, because the majority of crops that are made, even of soy and whatnot, they're actually made, like they're actually harvested, all these crops, to feed the cows, to feed the livestock. That's what these crops are for. It's not to feed us. It's to feed the animals. So we have enough food to feed the world if we eliminated the need for all this factory farming. We would have so much land, rainforests are being destroyed for crops to feed livestock and for all these animals and things. And people just aren't, I don't know if they're aware, they just don't want to know. I'm not sure what it is, but the implication that factory farming has on the environment is huge, and the impact is like too great to ignore at this point. And at some point, we have to take accountability. We vote with our dollar. That's what we vote. We don't vote with, like, I'm going to say this today or say that tomorrow. No, you vote with your dollar. That's what you're voting with. So as long as you purchase those things, and you purchase meat, and you purchase dairy, and you purchase eggs, you're paying for suffering. And that's what you're paying. And you're paying for things that are impacting the environment in a really, really bad way. So I just need you to know that we can be better than this, and there's ways that we can do things differently, and we can be more compassionate and empathetic towards other beings. Like, to walk around here like we're entitled and that we own the fucking earth is ridiculous, and it makes me so angry that we've gotten to this point. And maybe, I don't know how long we've been at this point, but it's not okay. It's really sad, especially since we're humans as a whole can be very destructive, and we've caused a lot of damage to this planet, and it's just very unfortunate. So what is the connection between veganism and spirituality? As I said, when you contribute to all these things, you're lowering your frequency, your vibration. And I know some people don't believe that, but if everything is energy, and if you're limiting your energy with other people, like, if you hang out with toxic people, then that affects your energy, then how come we people get to pick and choose what their energy is? If you're consuming an animal that was tortured and suffered greatly before he died, what makes you think that you're not you're consuming that energy as well, that negative vibration? I don't understand how that connection isn't made. And it's okay, like, if you didn't get it, and I never got it for a long time, and I was like a huge animal lover before, and I thought I was doing my best, but I wasn't doing my best. So I'm not going to sit here and call people bad people for not making the connection. And because you know what? We've been brainwashed, and cognitive dissonance is a real thing. It really, really is. So I know that there's a lot of good people out there who just don't understand why they're making these wrong choices and decisions. So I understand that. But I'm asking you to look into your heart and understand how awful factory farming is, and how awful these animals are being treated. And it's not their karma, because the minute you participate in something else, that's your karma. You're participating. So we have to be better. We are custodians of this earth, so we should act that way. We're guardians of this earth. We should act that way. We should, if we want to be raising our vibration and moving more towards a 5D and all that, like higher frequency, light energy, light and love energy, then we need to remove these low density things, and which is fear and pain and all those negative vibrations. And those are all the vibrations that come along with eating animal flesh. And I think it's really important to talk about that. It's something that I'm very passionate about. I haven't talked about it before, but I had decided that I really wanted to that's my stance on it, and I wanted to make it clear, because I think it's important. It's important about who I am, and it's an important message I really want to share as well. So I really hope that you can understand where I'm coming from here and why I think it's important that we need to reevaluate what kind of impact we're having on this planet and how we affect other people, other beings, our environment, our earth, and how much pain we're causing, and what we can do to stop that. So I'm pleading with all of you to actually maybe think about it and just consider watching the documentaries that I'm going to post below. Take a look at them. And please, if you have any experiences that when you went through your spiritual awakening, I guess I can share that. I was vegetarian for a long time. My job kind of stopped me from being vegan as a, cheese, as a cheese specialist or expert or whatever. But when I was going through my spiritual awakening, I just couldn't, I couldn't participate any longer. I knew that I wanted to be vegan. I ate mostly vegan, like pretty much like 80% vegan most of the time for many years now. But then I was like, I feel like very hypocritical. Like I'm very passionate about animals and the planet and stuff. So I knew that once I started shifting my vibration and going through my spiritual awakening, I knew that it was only natural that it just felt very natural and very, it just seemed like the next step to be vegan, not because I read it somewhere or watched it. It's just within me that I knew that it was the choice I had to make because it was the right choice. It was the right choice to make. And so that's why I became vegan. And obviously, I didn't have any issues with it, obviously, since I was eating mostly vegan for so long anyway. But if you have any experiences as to what made you become vegan, if your spiritual awakening helped you become vegan, or if you were already vegan and being vegan put you into a spiritual awakening, if you have any experiences like that and you want to share it, by all means, I'd love to hear about it. So message me in the comments below and I'll post the videos for those documentaries. I hope you have an awesome day, and I hope that at the very least that this video just made you think about it a little bit and think about what contributions, how you're contributing to our planet, and how you want to contribute to the planet, and how you view that. Like if you're standing from afar, what you think about yourself from a soul level and not from an ego level, and how important is that to you. And that's another thing, because maybe it's not important to you at all. But if it's important to you, what are you going to do about that? Anyways, I really hope that you have a wonderful day. And I really hope that you at least are in a place that you're just thinking about things a little bit differently after watching this video. But I do hope you have an awesome day. And if you're anywhere where it's very snowy and blizzardy, please stay safe and warm. Have an awesome day. Take care. I will see you soon. Bye.